Thanks, Justin. And thank you all for all the participants who have made time to attend this session. And apologies for not being there last week due to hospitalization and a surgery on me. I'm all good now. And just before we go ahead, let's recap on what we discussed last session on interview skills. There are three main phases when you're talking about interview skills, or how do you improve, or what are the things that you need to do when you're talking about applying for a job and then acing the interviews. The first one is the pre-interview preparation, where we talk about doing a very detailed analysis or understanding what the company is for, what are the products, what are the services that they are providing, their current performance in the market. And also, the second aspect was how do you match your skills to what they have. Even if you're a fresher, it does not matter. There will be some skills like communication, or determination, or for that matter, anything with regards to technical skills, those aspects. And also, the third one was you have to craft your story to meet those requirements, or you have to just basically be very confident about what is the story that you're going to tell the interviewer, so that you are basically selling your skills. And this is my story of how I'm going to add value to your organization. And the last two are basically the major ones that helps in terms of practicing with your friends, with other people, with elders, with seniors, with juniors, anybody for that matter. And also in the take as many mock interviews as possible. If you are finding it difficult to get anybody from your own friends circle to who are unable to provide you those mock interviews, please ask around. We will also be able to do those mock interviews if it's required. So this is the pre-interview preparation that we spoke about the last time. Now, in this session, we will basically be speaking about what are the things that need to be kept in mind, or what are the things that are the best practices when the second phase, that is called the during interview. What are the things that we need to do? And finally, what are the things that we need to do after we have completed the interview? It does not matter whether you're going to get a job or not, but at least from our perspective, we have to show them that we are in the line for, if not for this one, the next. May I please request people who are not speaking to go on mute, please? Thank you. So during the interview, the first thing that an interviewer, or for that matter, when I have interviewed people for my organization, the first thing that I look, it does not matter whether they're talking to me face to face, or it's online, or it's virtual. Your body language, your first impression, your interview, your introduction, it has to be very spot on. But also you should know that it should not be like you're reading out from a textbook, or you mugged up whatever you're about your introduction. Please be very careful about sounding like a robot when you're talking to your interviewer. It should not be that you're just pasted something on the wall and then you're reading it. That should not be the case at all. Talk from your heart, and also tell it does not matter. It's just an interview. It's not whether they're going to judge you as a criminal or not. So make sure that you are always excited about meeting those people, and you also have to ensure that they feel comfortable that, oh, this guy will do better work if I hire him. So from that perspective, your first impression is very important. Your posture, sit straight. Yeah, please pay attention to where the sound is coming from. Keep your body language not slacking like this, or too aggressive. Just be relaxed and speak to them in clear words when are clear diction. You don't have to use high funda English words when you're talking to them. Second thing, the major aspect, please let the interviewer ask the question. Don't interrupt them till they have finished the question. So your second option is to listen up really, really well. You need to make sure that you are understanding the question that the interviewer is asking and not just hear it. We have this tendency that if we hear some words like, okay, what is your job expectation in terms of salary? We focus only on the salary. We don't listen to what exactly is are the interviewer asking me this question at so early. So think before you answer and also listen to the questions very well. The third thing, as I said, no too much of flowery language. If it is an interview, keep it clear and concise. Stop. Use short sentences. Don't have to write an essay or talk in extempore and bring all the things that are not required for or that will not add and that will not add value to the responses that you're giving or the answers that you're giving. So again, don't ever be a robot. Don't ever think that, okay, if I ask what is the function of a loop in C language, it should not be that you go ahead and tell. Are you guys able to hear me now? Okay. Justin, Arun, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir, we are
Yes,
hearing.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
I got disconnected for some time, so that's the reason. So sorry about that. Okay. So the third point, don't be a robot.
We need to
Please.
start the recording again.
I think it started, I guess. Justin, can you check and confirm?
What, Kiran?
The recording, is it still on or?
Yeah, yeah, it's still on. Go on.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. So don't be a robot. See, the way I'm speaking to you, like uh, I might not know technically a lot of stuff, but then when I say the answer, I will basically answer it in a way that I know. Whatever is, I mean, nobody is expected to be perfect when you go to an interview. There will be questions that you might not know the answer for, but it does not mean that you don't have to answer it, or you can tell that, sorry, I'm not able to answer this question, but then I can put whatever experiences that you have had. It does not have to be whether it is non-relevant to your job profile, but personal, interpersonal skills. How do you handle a crisis situation, or how do you handle a frictional situation where there are conflicts between two people? So those are the things that generally interviewers look at. So again, don't be a robot. Keep it clear and concise. Short sentences, to the point answers. And you should always be, even when they ask you the question, even if you don't know the answer, it does not matter. Your body language should not sag. It should always be very receptive. It should be very not aggressive, assertive. It's not that they expect you to answer all the questions. 100 out of 100 is not what you're not writing an exam here. They want to hire you for the skills that you have, for the moldability of your skills in the future. So from that perspective, your interpersonal skills and your communication skills are very important. So when they're asking you the question, and if you don't have the answer to it, I mean, we basically follow, what I basically follow is the star method for answering those questions. The star method, the S stands for situation, the T stands for tasks, A stands for actions, and R stands for results. So you put yourself or explain to the interviewer, this is the situation. These are the tasks that I identified. These are the actions that I took, and these are the results of those actions. Custom, I can assure you, the customer, the interviewer will be bowled over by you, because these are some of the things that even experienced professionals don't do well. They actually go on a diatribe on what they did and this is how and all that stuff, which does not add value to the question that has been asked. So from that perspective, show the excitement that even if you don't have the answer, you know some of the aspects that you can answer in terms of star. And also, it does not mean that when they are asking you a question, you are not supposed to be asking the question back. If you don't understand the question, you have all the right to ask the question to be repeated. Don't stop. If you don't know if you're not understood it well, if we all know, if you're taking virtual or online interviews, there will be technological impediments. It does not mean that if you now you might not hear the question properly, go ahead and ask the question, but don't make the questions to look like it is always, oh, I'm not able to hear you, can you please repeat the question. Keep it to bare minimum. What are the questions that the interviewer looks at is in terms of what is it in it for me, what is in it for me. So if they say that, okay, this is a big company and other stuff, you ask them, from my perspective, what do you think is are the what are the qualities that you're looking for to get a promotion faster? What are the things that I need to do better to get a leading edge across other people? So those are the ask smart questions, and never limit your responses to the only the job role that you are talking about. You talk about your aspirations when you're doing your introduction. That's why I said you have to talk about your aspirations, and you should also come out telling that what are the hobbies, what are the things that you're going to do. Social work, the volunteering is generally very well appreciated by a lot of companies, because there's a lot of focus from a big organizations on the CSR activities. And when they know that they have got people who have been part of this volunteering or being part of some of this social work activities, they will be more than happy to hire you at that point of time. So ask smart questions and also give them an impression that you're thinking ahead. You're not only limiting yourself to a certain role in that organization. Again, as I said, first impressions, your body language, no slouching, no going back, no closing your hands like this. That doesn't give them a very, when you close your, when you basically put your hands like this, it basically means that you are not receptive to those feedback that comes from them, or you are you're a person who will not take constructive feedback. So please make sure that your hands are always on your thighs or on your knees, or you can hold it like this. And you don't have to show it, but then you keep it like this. Basically, this helps you to focus. You keep fidgeting, you keep shaking. That will not help. That will basically give them that, oh, this guy is not on. When they feel that, okay, you're not interested, you're just taking the interview just for the sake of taking the interview. So that should not be the case. Your body language speaks volumes. Use it very well. Use it assertively and be very concise and clear. And if they ask you a very tough question, which you have not, and which is not even there as part of your requirement, no big deal. As I said, go with the star methodology: situation, tasks, actions, and results. These are the main things that you have to do. So let me recap. What are the things that we have to do during the interview? First impressions matter. Make sure that you are well dressed. You're not having anything on your in front of you which is dirty or anything of that sort. A clean shirt, mm, a face which is less oily, or those sort of aspects. Please make sure that is done. Listen and ask questions wisely. Your responses, keep it clear and concise. Don't ever be robotic. Don't act like you have mugged an answer and come. Also, when you're answering, let that excitement show. You don't get called for an interview based only on your what was written. They also want to know how you are in terms of interacting with other people. So let that excitement show. Smart questions. Don't ask questions only technologically. What is in it for me? Please ask this. Ask yourself, what is in it for me? In after 2 years, where am I? Where can I be? What is the expectation from a salary perspective that I can ask? You can ask. It's not a problem. But then they might answer or not answer, but then they will get an interview, but they will get an impression, okay, this guy has done his homework well, he is very much interested in joining our organizations. Those aspects, body language and tough questions, star methodology works for all this. So these are the things that you do during your interview. And I will take a pause here. Any questions? Okay, I'll take that as a no. And then the final or the third major aspect of when you're talking about interview skills is the post interview best practices. What do you do after the interview is done? It does not matter whether you're selected or not. You have to do this to make sure that the three main things that you have to do is to make sure that next time they call you for an interview, they will remember you for it. The first thing is, after you finish the interview, send them a thank you note telling them that thank you for giving me an opportunity to be part of the interview process. I really like the question that you have asked and look forward to your response, positive response. Don't beg, tell looking forward to your response. That's it. Don't tell that positive or negative, it's left to them. But you, from your perspective, be courteous. Tell them that you also have the soft skills when it comes to asking thank yous or using pleases and thank yous when you're after a job is done or after a interview is done. And the second major aspect, do a self analysis of yourself, of the interview. What went right? Did not go right? What went wrong? What went right? Make those in probably if you can make a voice note, make a voice note of it. Focus on that and go through those points that you failed at, that you thought did not go well. Improve on that. So that's how you get better. Make sure that you do a self-analysis, critical, constructive self-analysis of the things that went right and that did not go right. So, and then find out or create a roadmap as to improve on those areas. And also, when it comes to technology, or for that matter, information technology, it keeps changing, it keeps growing. At any given point of time, please make sure that you are keeping yourself abreast of all the technological advancements that the world has to offer. It does not mean that you have to go through books and books and books. There are a lot of websites. You go to Google, latest technological advancements in the world. Go to Google. Google is my best friend when it comes to viewing, or for that matter, any search engine will give you the latest news about the latest technologies, not only from assistive technology, but also from other aspects like banking, your ITES, which is basically information technology enabled services. There are a lot of other services which uses internet and IT in a long way, or in a large way. So keep yourself abreast of all the technological advancements. So these are the three main things. Don't forget the thank you note, and also reflect self and constructive self-analysis of what went right and wrong, and keeping yourself informed about the latest developments in the information technology. So these are the three main things under post-interview best practices. So This brings us to the close of the interview skills as such. So recapping once again, the first one, pre-interview preparation, during the interview and post-interview. Pre-interview, know the company, craft your story, and practice. During the interview, first impressions, body language, star methodology. Post-interview, thank you notice, self-analysis, and information update, or basically keeping yourself informed about the latest updates. So I will take a pause here. Any questions from the participants?
So Kiran, sorry, this is Gokul here.
Yes, go.
I have a question. Like here, some interviewers, right? They may not say that. See, if we are selected, then we'll be notified. But
Mm-hmm.
generally, when we are not selected, no, they won't let us know that we are not selected.
Yep.
So what do we do to convey them that, ask them to let us know the result of the interview, whether we get selected or not? Just how do we let them know so that we can also apply for the next job?
Yeah. So from that perspective, during the interview, okay, we can go ahead and ask them when can I expect a response from you regarding this? They will clearly tell you whether if you get an email, that means you're selected. If you don't get an email, you're not selected. But also, after you've done your interview, also you send out a post, thank you note, right? So when you're sending out a thank you note, you can ask them an ETA about when can I expect a response to my interview. And beyond that, if most of the time if they don't respond, also, I generally take it that within a week or 2 weeks, if I don't get any response from them, I would assume that I will not be getting the job offer. So this is how I deal. And more, the second aspect is when you are called for an interview, they will somebody from HR will basically call from their landline. Get the landline from the HR and call them back. I'm sure they will be more than happy to respond to whether you made it or you did not make it. Gokul.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kiran.
Yeah. Thanks, Gokul. Any other questions? Okay. So I guess most what I will do after this call is I'll send out the information or whatever we have discussed in a note, and I'll send it to Justin. Justin will share it with all of you guys. Please focus on that. And if there are any questions or if you need any help in terms of those mock interviews or in terms of understanding some of these concepts, please feel free to come back to us. We'll be more than happy to help you out with the responses and helping you out with some of the mock interviews as well. Uh, and apart from that, now, is there any other questions?
Kiran, Arun here.
Yeah, Arun.
I would suggest that, probably just give a synopsis and tell them in Kannada what you just talked.
Okay. So how many of you guys actually speak Kannada here? The participants, I think,
A
including
few,
me.
most are from Andhra and Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
So
So Kannada won't work, Arun. So that's the thing.
Okay.
But I can see if there is any questions that if they want to ask in their own uh,
I have a
language.
suggestion. Can I add to this?
Yeah, Pooja,
With
go ahead.
with the South, no, I'm from North, so I understand that. There's a huge difference between you using these words very often in a conversation. Thank you, please,
Yes.
sorry,
Yep.
in every conversation. If you're saying you're taking someone's time, no, you say sorry to bother you, sorry, sir. These should be restricted.
Yes. See, you can ask a sorry when it is unintentional. If you don't hear, a response. If you just for example, if you don't ask, if you've not understood a question, you can always ask, pardon me, sir, I did not, can you please repeat that for me? Avoid using sorries. Sorry should be used when you are in a personal contact with with a person, and there it becomes very personal. But pleases and thank yous are the biggest positive words that we have been taught to use. Does not matter whether it's in personal space or in professional space. The
But too
word
much of it
please,
becomes too much. Hmm.
yes, that too,
Personally, I can't take it. If you ask me personally, if I'm talking to somebody and somebody says shows too much of courtesy, I can't take it.
yeah.
It
See,
becomes too much.
yeah, overdoing it as also does not work, right? And then you like sweets does not mean that you'll right from morning till dinner, from morning breakfast to evening dinner, you will just be eating sweets. That will not work for you, and it's not good for health as well. So over courtesy, avoid it. Don't use too many thank yous and pleases. That's what I said. When during the interview, when you don't use the sorries again and again when there is a problem with this one, there is a technological issue. You're not being able to answer the understand or listen to the question or hear the question properly. Ask them, but don't stop using the word sorries again and again, which basically means that you don't have self confidence in yourself. The self confidence thing is what interviewer, as for my part, I will look at an interviewee and find out how many sorries is he using, how many pleases and thank yous. If it is one or two thank yous and one or two pleases, it makes sense because that is what is required. But if it's there are if your sorries are more than your pleases and thank yous, that basically means that there is a lot of gaps in how you are going to deal with people. Because even if you that gives them the interviewer an impression that okay, this guy does not have the confidence to stand against people or things that might not be right. So that is how we basically look at your body language, or for that matter, the tone that you use. As soon as an interviewer knows that you sound like a robot or a rote machine, or you're a school student, by just giving the exact definition that is written in a book, they will lose interest. Trust me, it does not work at all. Okay, any more questions?
Hello, sir. I'm
Yes,
Advis.
yes,
Yeah,
Anjali.
I don't know whether like I can ask this question or not, but
Yeah.
so are there any tools that like we can use to practice mock interviews? Because always we don't like persons are available.
See, I am not aware of any of those tools, Anjaneyulu, but I will make a search. I will get you some of those things that we use in our own organization in TCS and see if that can be leveraged for you guys. But again, as I mentioned, if you guys need mock interviews, we have now people from RBA can actually go ahead and do that one, but make sure that at least it's once in a week and not too many of them. I can do 2 or 3 hour sessions, selecting 5 or 6 people, and basically other people can join in, and then we basically can go through it. And that's what I'm going to do in the next 10 minutes. I will basically identify 2 volunteers. One will be the interviewer and one will be the interviewee. And you guys will be basically the people who will judge. You are also part of the jury, basically. And then find out what went right, what went wrong, and see where you lack yourself from those aspects. And that will help really to you also. But I will take that action, Anjaneyalu. I will find out the tool that we currently use in our own organization and get back to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Why like I asked means see when we talk like when we want to like get a mock interview to like other persons like I have like lack of confidence. So when we
Mm-hmm.
practice with the tools, we
Mm.
can like identify our mistakes and things, and
Yes.
then we will like
See,
um
from my perspective, I'll tell you, Anjaneyulu. See, you don't, from the way you are speaking, I don't think you have any less confidence. It's just that you feel that you are lesser because you're not able to speak in the same way that I'm speaking English. That should not be the case. When I spoke about during the interview, small sentences, concise sentences. At the end of the day, your communication skills can be improved when you join a job because that's how you basically imbibe the culture from the organization. What they want is your thought process. If you say that I have worked on Java projects, that's enough. That means you know what you have worked on. Some people see think that okay, I should have a very good control over English. Yes, that is control over English. Yes, but your accent, or for that matter, when, uh, your accent or the way you say it is not, does not matter to them. What matters is the response to that question. Do you have or do you not have that particular response to that question? So from my perspective, your English is pretty good. Why do you think you don't have you have less confidence? You are able to speak to me. I think I'm the interviewer. And I felt that I did not feel that you have any less confidence in the way that you asked the question. This is
Anjaneyulu,
yeah, thank you, sir.
Kiran, sorry, Kiran. Can I suggest something to Anjaneyulu?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Arun.
Yes, Anjaneyulu, see what happens is when you talk to a machine, no, you will not get the kind of response that you think will correct you or will find mistakes in you. But when you're speaking to a person, uh, you know, when you're speaking to person live, okay, what happens is if you're making mistake, if it's a friend of yours or if it's going to be a mock interview, they will tell you, okay, this is where you're making a mistake, make the change. Okay, so you can make the change and rephrase that sentence for you. But if you're speaking to a machine and you say, I will do a mock interview on the machine, and the machine will not say whether you're right or wrong. They will look at the language, or they will not look at the what you're talking in that language.
Correct. That's the reason
Yes, sir. Yeah, I also agree with you.
so that's the reason, Anjaneyulu. See, you have friends. You might have friends. You might have your neighbors who could be who are the. You have got a huge pool of people with whom you don't have to do anything. Prepare the list of questions that you want to be asked. You don't have to mug it up. Just give those questions to them, and just tell them that you ask these questions. Practice it. Practice, practice, practice. As I told you in the last session also, I went through 13 interviews before I got my first job, the first big job that I got. And it's not that every time I felt, oh, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. No, every time the only thing that I told myself was that I can get better. I can get better. I can get better. So every time you attend an interview, you gain that confidence. Every time you do a mock interview with any of your colleagues or with your friends or with your neighbors or your friends or anybody, your confidence increases. And at the end of the day, they're not, you're going for an interview. You're not going to a court to basically, what do you call, to be judged a criminal or not. So just think that, like how you speak to your friends, like how you speak to somebody who has got a lot more knowledge from whom you can learn. Your interview sessions also have to be the same. Don't ever put yourself down because they expect very good English or anything of the sort. I've seen people, technical people in my own organization who are very good technologically, but they don't speak, they don't write essays, or they don't write, but they don't, when they speak their English, it is their mother tongue influence is always there, but they are able to put their message across, their thought across in a very simple way. We understand that. That is what is important for the interviewer. Whether you can understand it, whether you can respond to those questions appropriately. So don't ever think that I don't have confidence in answering those questions. You will only gain confidence when you are doing this mock interviews or you're talking to your practicing and all this stuff. Just I'll tell you what I generally used to do. Whenever I used to go ahead and have an interview, or after I failed an interview, I used to go and record. We used to have this old phones where we used to record all this introduction for myself. I used to write it down and then record it in a phone. And then I used to listen to it. And then I used to find out what went wrong. Try to do it. It really helps. Try to do an introduction of yourself, record it, and find out what is it that you have to do in order to make it better. That will really help.
Okay, Kiran, I have a
Thank
suggestion
you.
also to
Hi,
make to
yes.
everybody sitting here. Yes, not to just to Anjaneyulu, but to everybody sitting here. You know, when we start talking to in English, no, we think that, what will the other person think if you're wrong? Okay, and that is the only reason why you don't speak to everybody openly. Okay, the best way to uh, increase and make your vocabulary better. Okay, is to read the newspaper loudly. Just 10 lines, 20 lines. Every day, 20 lines of the newspaper you read. And when you make a mistake, then you'll know, okay, this is where I'm going to make a mistake. This is how I need to improve my language. And when you keep doing that, you will get the confidence of doing better and much better. And the only drawback, like I said, all of us have is we are scared of what will the other person think if we make a mistake. Why should we bother about what the other person thinks? If you make a mistake, you make a mistake. You can always say,
We are all
pardon me?
Yeah, we are all human. We all make mistakes, but we have to
Correct,
learn from those mistakes
correct.
and then
So
be better next time.
So if I'm making mistake, Kiran tells me, there are so many times when probably while talking fluently, suddenly I make a mistake. Kiran tells me, you know what, you should do this. Okay, I will do that. Next time I will make sure that I will not make this mistake. At least not in front of Kiran.
I also have a small suggestion to make.
Yes.
So, this is something which I have used personally to improve my vocabulary and to improve the way I started speaking in, to a large audience. So, I think we have heard people say when you talk to yourself, sometimes people say, oh, they're talking to themselves. I think they're mad. But I mean, that's what my family used to say initially. Why does she talk to herself? But then that increases the fluency. So when I used to cook, I used to take up a question and just answer that question. Mention some points which I would like to be part of the answer. So such similar things. So say for example, introduction. So your introduction. So you're sitting alone and you're just thinking, okay, what should be your introduction? So you can just talk aloud. Just speak to yourself and come up with an introduction. And the second suggestion is when you're doing mock interviews with people, known people, of course, will definitely help. But sometimes also find people who are in the same profession. So, say for example, you're trying to apply for an HR interview, and you have people who are working in the HR profession already. So, just get along with them, ask them for some time, and you can just do a mock interview with them, because our known people, sometimes they would definitely give feedback, but some people may not give you uh, honest feedback as well, just thinking that you might feel bad or something like that. So And people who are already working in the same profession can give you much better feedback as well. So these are two suggestions I actually wanted to give to everybody here.
One small thing we all need to understand at all times. We have a physical disability or a mental, we don't have mental disability. Second, we should not look for pity from the interviewer. That okay, we have a problem, we have a disability, so you hire us. Don't look at our flaws. We have to stand up for ourselves and say, okay, I'm willing to learn, and this is what I know. This is what we can learn.
Yes.
So no pity.
Yeah. That's
I
correct.
think,
Yes, Gokul.
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I think one
No,
more
no, go ahead.
question.
Yes, Gokul.
Like I think somebody has posted in the chat box another
Yeah.
question.
What are the skills application from a fresher's perspective?
Yeah, and
Uh,
one more point to this question, like I wanted to, like, just adding to what Pooja said, like I have faced this in many interviews. Say I've gone to a lot of interviews, like mostly without the employer knowing that I'm a person with visual impairment. So in
mhm,
most cases, I've gone to walk-in interviews when I was a fresher. So the entire employer never
mhm,
used to know that I'm a person with visual impairment. So in a lot of places, people used to ask me this question. See, there are a lot of people who can do the job faster than you. So why should we
mm,
hire you over them who can do the job easier? See, for you, we have to give you so many tools. You will take so much time. And many times I have been asked this question. First time when we get this
mhm.
question, we'll be like, oh my God, what are they asking now? What to say? So, but as we keep going on, I think the answer we should give is maybe they're not trying to demean you in any way. They're just trying to test your confidence. That's it. So you
Yes,
should not
correct.
take it offensively. Don't take it offensively and
Again,
say, if you want to give a job, you give, otherwise get lost. So please don't refrain from giving those kinds of reactions because they're not
yeah,
trying to demean you in any way. They're trying to test your confidence. So in that case,
yes,
after maybe 5 to 10 interviews, what I figured out was the best thing to do is to say, maybe I'm not, yes, I accept that I need additional tools, I need additional support, but I can do a job just like any other person. I would like, just like your other candidates can, I can also do the job. So I just need the
mm,
requisite tools and I can do it for you. So that if you say that
I,
in a way, then
I have
they'll be.
I have an answer to this. I was in the HR for a long time,
Hmm.
and one person entered, and he was having a handicap. He was a polio candidate, and he joined the organization in the eye donation wing,
Hmm.
where he had to go to people's houses after their death to recover the eyes, the cornea. Okay, now this guy was so smart. He said one line which caught on. He says, "I have seen the pain. I have conquered the pain." And I've seen people with any kind of disability don't change organizations after 2 years or 3 years. They stick around if they're happy.
correct. That's
And
that's the
this
thing.
this
Yes,
statement got in the job.
yes.
So
See,
they use this.
yeah, that's what. So when you're going for an interview, you're not selling yourself. You're selling your skills. So loyalty is something, particularly in the current market situations, loyalty is something that an organization looks at very critically. And if a able-bodied person is selected for that same role and given a choice between a disabled and an able person, the and if the disabled person gives them an impression that okay, he is going to stick on to this organization for 5 to 6 years, there's absolutely nothing stopping them from hiring you at a higher package than the able guy, because they know that able people after 2 to 3 years they will go ahead and change a job. It's a job for them. But for a disabled person, it's a means of livelihood. It's something that actually enables them to be better. So, as Pooja said, sell your skills, sell your skills, sell your lawyer, sell your loyalty, sell what you can do for the organization, and convince them. And I'm sure more often than not, they are convinced by people who are disabled. So that's it. And answering to Shweta's question, the first thing, the three main skills that you would want to have before you have any confidence about application of these skills is communication. You don't have to be an English professor or a MA in MA literature in English literature to ace an interview. If you can go ahead, put your thoughts in a concise and a clear way, short sentences with full stops, with appropriate pauses, with appropriate pleases and thank yous. That should be your first one. Second thing is your language, not the, sorry, your body language. Make sure that when you practice sitting, at least in front of the laptop, practice sitting straight. Make sure that you are always not slouching back, not leaning forward, not leaning back, and don't fold your hands. Don't always, when you're speaking, speak a bit loud, not loud in the sense you shout. You should be loud enough for the interviewer to understand. Be slow. A lot of people, in the excitement of knowing the answer, just go ahead and run like a train. That should not be the case. That should not be how it should be. And the third aspect I said is the third skills that you have to do, as Arun suggested, newspapers. Newspapers and any technology journals that you get hand to, if you online or otherwise, go ahead and read those. They're very important. And as I said, you a star situation, when there are questions, there might be questions that you don't know any answer, that you thought it will never be asked in the interview. You don't have to answer that question correctly. What you can answer is that you can tell them. What I generally do is, I have seen candidates also who have interviewed also. Sorry, not sorry. I'm unable to answer this question, but I have done something very similar to it. And they can give a personal situation. That's what I said. Star, situation, tasks, actions, and results. It does not have to be technologically or technology oriented response. It can also be personal response as well. Yeah. How does this, what are you, in your results, when you're talking about your results, when you, in the STAR methodology or the results, you tell that this helped me talk more slowly. This helped me get my job done sooner. This helped me understand technology much better. That basically gives the interviewer an indication that, okay, you guys are very or on the or on a fast track to understand things much better, do a much better job and that you have been selected for. Okay, so these are the three main things: communication skills, slow, concise, short sentences. Second thing, body language and the tone of voice that you're using. Third is basically keeping yourself informed. Use the star analysis wherever. It does not matter whether it's only in your interviews. Even personally also, you can use those. What is the situation? You have a personal situation at home. What are the tasks that you have to do? What are the actions that I have to perform? And what will be the result? Think very clearly. Don't rush. Don't run. So these are the three main things that I would like to emphasize when you're talking about those application of skills for freshers, Shweta. Does that answer your question? Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay. Justin, over to you. I think there are no questions. If there are any questions, please contact Justin. Send an email to him, and I will. In the meanwhile, after this call, I'll share the best practices for the session that we have discussed.